Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and this is A Fields Full House. And today I am finally sitting down and answering those Q&As that you guys left about a month ago. I'm sorry it has taken me a while to sit down and do this. Life has just been crazy. It's just been nonstop, one thing after another. Days that I have intended to sit down and do this have just gotten rather busy and filled up with other stuff. So finally sitting down and doing it, we're going to dive in and answer all of your questions. So if you are new here, hello and welcome. I'm the mother to 11 children. We share different videos here on YouTube, from family vlogs, cooking ideas, just kind of whatever life throws our way. We just kind of share large family living and what it's like to have many children in tow. There's never a dull moment, I can tell you that right now. But we're going to dive into these questions today. So Chrissy and Cece asked, she said that she remembers us taking a 23andMe test a while back, and what were the results? So Chrissy, thank you so much for asking this and remembering. So a while back in a Q&A that Nathan and I did, we mentioned that we had the 23andMe test that we were going to be doing. But we did do it. We have the results, but I never shared the results. Just kind of didn't fit in anywhere. So we get asked often what nationality Nathan is or what his background is. If I'm on my editing game, I'll pop a picture up here of him. He just kind of has, I honestly never thought anything different. He is white, he just comes from a white family, never had known of his background of being any certain ethnicity, okay? And by people kind of asking and pointing out certain character traits about him, characteristic traits, is that how you would say that about him? I was like, yeah, he kind of does look, a lot of people say that he looks like he has, he's Puerto Rican or has a Hispanic background. Anyways, drum roll, the results are in for the 23andMe test, and he is European. So it was either 95 or 98% European. I don't remember what the other percentage was. Maybe I should go ask him real quick. I don't know. Mine was 100% European. So he is what we thought that he was. So it was kind of interesting to find out. The test was pretty cool too. So anyways, that's the answer to that. So thank you for remembering that, for one, and asking, because I've thought about it many times, not whenever I'm doing a video or anything, but a lot of people have asked us what his nationality is. So there you go. All right, so Kim Zook asks, how do you get all your children to be so respectful and well-behaved? Well, thank you, Kim. I appreciate the compliment. I promise we all have our moments, including me, of not always being 100% respectful or well-behaved. But overall, I would say we don't have too many issues. It's just the nature of our family. I think a lot happens from the way that you treat your children, or in your family, or treat people outside of your family. Kids learn by seeing what their parents are doing. And I feel like if we are respectful by nature to other people, to each other, to our children, and being a good example to them in that way, that's how the kids learn. Does that make sense? But we also teach them about respect. If something happens, we teach them to apologize for what they may have done wrong, not just, I'm sorry. We want them to mean it. And we just teach them about being empathetic towards other people and just showing respect in general. I think it's very important that everybody shows respect to anybody that you may come across in life. I just think it's very important. So we do work on that, but I think a lot happens even from the time that they're little, as babies, of showing respect to your children, and in turn you will get respect back. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so Daniela asked, but with that said, we are by no means perfect at all. I never want to come off that way. Real mom here, struggles, real kids, struggles. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and they're different each day too. Okay, so Daniela asked, any plans for Camden's birthday, and how is he doing with his nap schedule and nighttime sleep? So this is how long ago I asked these questions. Camden's birthday was at the end of September, and we just had a family birthday party. That's typically what we do for 1-year-olds, is we do a thing amongst our family. My mom will come over. We do a smash cake. It was in a vlog, and if I remember, I will put that video in the description box below so that you can see. We get him a little gifts. We just kind of celebrate him that day. I don't think we went to the park or playground. That's typically what I'll do for like little ones' birthdays. We'll go to a different park or just do something, you know, out of just being at home, go do something outside the house. But that is what we did. So as far as his sleeping, actually over the last month, he's been doing a lot better. He's always been a great napper. He does very good with that. Nighttime, he was waking up considerably, like 3 times. So that I feel like that's kind of a lot. But recently he's been either sleeping through the night, glory, hallelujah, or waking up 1 time, or just super early in the morning. Very thankful. Don't I look more rested, y'all? Not really. I'm just kidding. But so yes, he is doing good with sleep, I feel like, for my kids anyways. I've had some pretty rough sleepers. Okay, so Susanna asks, how early do you start Christmas shopping? Oh, goodness. Is it easier to spread it out, or do you plan on, oh, there's another question to this. I cannot believe that it's October for one, mid-October. Goodness, I should have filmed this video so long ago. It's mid-October, y'all, and Christmas is right around the corner. The kids keep asking Alexa, like, how many days of Christmas? I think we're like at 70 something. Okay, so I am not an early shopper, and I do not spread it out all over the year. I usually don't start until around Thanksgiving or November, which every year I swear I'm going to do this sooner. I do want to say I have Kinley's gifts done this year. Can I get some praise for that? So 1 kid down, 10 more to go. So I don't really like to shop early or all year round because I want to get things that the kids really want or desire for Christmas. And with kids, that changes often, especially little kids. You know, they could be into something, a certain thing in March or April and say, I see that toy, but by December, they're not into it anymore. So that's partly why we wait. We always get it done some way, somehow. The older kids don't change their minds as often, so it would be easier to shop for them early. I don't know. I don't shop early. It's just not in my nature. Anyways, it sounds nice in theory. So I would think it would be easier to spread it out, but wanting to focus on things that the kids genuinely want or desire instead of just getting them something random. I feel like it's easier to pinpoint that stuff towards the end of the year. Okay, so she also asked, do you plan on getting any house pets, dog or cat, when you move? So we actually have a cat now. If y'all haven't heard that in the videos, a cat adopted us. It showed up on basically our doorstep, looked rather sickly, and so we started taking care of it. So we have a kitty cat now. Her name, I thought it was a girl. She was young, but now I kind of think it might be a boy. I have no idea. Anyways, is Casey for Kit Kat. Thought that was super cute. The kids came up with that. We will probably get a dog. I don't know when. Like, our primary focus once we get out there is not pets. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. But we will more than likely get a dog once we are out there. So Laura Johnson asks, what's your favorite book? Do you prefer reading fiction or nonfiction? And on a different topic, how do you integrate prayer into your daily life and help your kids learn to pray? Very good question. So as far as praying, the Bible says to pray without ceasing. And to me, that means constant. So I constantly have a prayer in my heart or on my mind. I may not be outwardly speaking it, but as I'm folding laundry or carrying a basket of laundry, working with children, if something comes to my mind, I just pray for it. It kind of becomes part of your nature, your habit. And just doing it without thinking is, if a worry comes to my mind, I immediately pray for it or something like that. Or if a person comes to mind, I will pray for them, or something that somebody has shared with me or asked me to pray for. If they pop on my mind, I just pray to myself. Prayer doesn't have to be this huge, eloquent, long thing. Jesus knows our heart, and just simply saying, Jesus, please be with this person, heal them, bring them your favor, cover them with your goodness and your peace. You know, like, Jesus just wants us to pray and be in relationship with him. So I was going to say, does that make sense? I say that a lot. I'm trying not to say that. It's hard to not say certain things that you say a lot. Anyway, so as far as learning for kids to pray, the same thing. If they fall down and they get hurt, you know, we'll say a quick prayer. Dear Jesus, please help this boo-boo. Or somebody's not feeling good. we just constantly direct them to praying in Jesus, but it's also how we live our lives, so it comes natural. Okay, my favorite book, I would have to say, is the Love Comes Softly series. It's actually, I think that's it. Is that it? Yes, that's it right there. So it's by Jeanette Oak. It's a series. It's a beautiful story. There's actually like a prequel and the one that comes after that. What is that called? A prequel and what is the next one called? I have no idea, y'all. I have not read the others. Taylor has devoured those books and has read them all. It's just a beautiful story. And there's movies that are loosely based off of them. I would say that. So if I had to choose, if I had to choose between fiction and nonfiction, I would say I would prefer to read fiction. However, I don't read for pleasure that often. As you can imagine, my days are pretty full. And if I were to sit down and read a book, I'd probably fall asleep. But I mostly read like not self-help books, but like inspirational books. Like right now I'm reading a book by Priscilla Schreier about, what was the name of it? Life Interrupted, of things that can help me, whether in my walk with God or as a mother, is primarily, if I sit down and read, is what I'm reading, or the Bible. I would love to sit down and read for pleasure. I've started several books, but I haven't finished them. Mom life, right? Sorry, I'm getting like a frog in my throat, so I had to clear my throat. Okay, so the next question is from It's Jess. Are you more strict or laid back when it comes to nap times and bedtimes? I imagine with older kids, their schedule probably interferes with the little one's sleep time, so you just adjust day to day. So we kind of have a way of doing things. If we are home, we have a set schedule. 1 o'clock is nap time. The little ones go down. They're usually up around 4. But if we have something come up, say a birthday party or get together with friends, co-op, anything like that, we do just roll with it. And all of my kids have done fairly well with that. I've never had like a kid really have a problem with it. They might get a little cat nap in the van, and that's perfectly fine with me. With that said, it's like once they're close to 2, they can handle that better, and they just adjust. Now, some of my toddlers will be super fussy in the evening, and we just know that's part of having a busy day, and we just go with it. I'm not going to not do something just because of nap time is how I approach it. So I guess that would be laid back. But if we're home, they're laying down on time. Okay, so Jamie Lee asks, what signs do you or your hubby notice in early pregnancy or any early cravings? God bless your family. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much, Jamie. So early signs, I would say I notice more than Nathan does. I almost know with most of them super early on. I think once Nathan was pretty confident before I was. I notice a lot I have those sharp ligament pains. You mamas who've had more than one baby know what I'm talking about. It gets worse with each baby. It's just a super sharp pain, like when you just stand up or move abruptly, I guess you would say. I noticed by that, and reflux. Now, with that said, since Drew, I used to only have reflux if I was pregnant, but since Drew, I have still continued to have acid reflux. So that's not really a very good sign anymore. I just get really tired, just normal type symptoms. I don't necessarily crave anything early on, with the exception of Reagan. When you've had multiple children, I've got all these stories with all these different kids. With Reagan, before I knew I was pregnant, I craved steak like nobody's business. I had to have steak and green beans. And Nathan and that's odd for me to just be like, hey, I want a steak. And Nathan was kind of like, okay. So we happened to go get steak, and he cooked it and all of that. And he was like, are you pregnant? And sure enough, I was. So it was funny. And my body actually, I really needed iron. So that was hence the cravings. So different things for different babies. Going to the moving update, house update questions. This was asked multiple times over, and I totally understand why. I haven't updated a ton because it's so complex, and I don't want to share anything until there's something concrete as of right now. I may say something at some point, I don't know. But our plans have changed. So actually, the question that was asked here is, when are y'all moving? Have you started moving yet? And what did the kids think about moving? So we have not started moving yet. It's just been so much. I feel like any time with the manufactured home, it's kind of been just like a closed door. And I feel like God is closing that door. That's been our prayer throughout this whole thing. Like whatever was not intended for us, for God to close that door and open up the right doors. So we are just trusting the path that He is leading us on right now. So we are pursuing other options outside of the manufactured home, but nothing is concrete yet. So I want to wait to share that. It's been honestly very hard. The unknown is extremely frustrating for me, but my hope and my trust and my faith are in the Lord. So anytime that I'm having those feelings, I'm just praying and just going back to God, because that's all that I can do right now. So that's kind of the update. Our intentions are to move on to the land. We bought, for those of you who don't know, we bought 5 acres at the end of June. And our plans were to put a manufactured home on it, and it just was not working. And so we are looking into other things at the moment. And it's taking a lot longer than what we had hoped. But we're just along this journey and just trugging right along, I guess you'd say. Anyway, so we haven't started moving anything. There's a lot of steps to it. Like we need to get well and septic out there. Once we have water out there and power, we could do a lot. There is a power pole, but there's nothing to connect power to. So anyways, one thing at a time, I guess you'd say. So what do the kids think about moving? They are excited. They kind of have the same feelings as I do. Just being more so the older kids. The younger kids they're just more excited. They want to get animals and, play on the property and build tree houses and stuff like that. So everybody overall is excited. The older kids definitely see the frustration because our plans have changed, but we are just pulling together and just trying our best and to do what would be best for our family overall and over long term as well. Okay, so yes, okay, I answered that question, sorry. Okay, so the next question is, how does raising teenagers compare to raising young kids? Are there any unexpected challenges, and do your kids ever argue with each other? Yes, they do. If so, how do you handle and how do you foster a good relationship between siblings? Okay, so I'll start with the first question. How does raising teenagers compare to raising young kids? So it's just different. It's like raising young kids is more physically exhausting, and raising teenagers is more emotionally and mentally exhausting. Does that make sense? They're both exhausting. And if you have both at the same time, you are both mentally and emotionally and physically exhausted. So at any one moment, I can be dealing with a toddler tantrum, a baby blowout diaper, a teenager needing advice and help, and a preteen needing direction or something. Yeah, it's a lot. But it's fun. So overall, there really hasn't been any unexpected challenges. We haven't faced a ton of like the mood swings or the rebellion or anything like that. I think just fostering that relationship with your kids early on, meaning when they're little, of just being a safe haven for them to come and talk to you helps in that. So, and that's like when teenagers like to talk about a lot of things, which is awesome. And that usually happens late at night. It's been a neat season having older kids and doing, more grown-up things versus, going to parks and playgrounds and fun kiddie type places. It's been a neat season. It's been a lot of fun. I've been liking having older kids. So do your kids ever argue with each other? And if so, how do you handle it? And how do you foster a good relationship between siblings? So they do. And that's honestly one of the most frustrating things for me. I remind them that they are each other's best friend. That friends are going to come and go in and out of your lives, but your brother and sister are always going to be there. And it's important how we treat them now, because if you were constantly picking on a sibling or treating them poorly, you're going to get that behavior back. But you're also teaching your other siblings to behave that way as well. And I often say to them, like, would you treat your best friend this way? And the answer is usually no, because we treat our friends with kindness. And then I remind them, well, let's not treat our brother or our sister that way. And that usually helps. If it doesn't, we have them do the other sibling's chore. So say sibling A is being mean to sibling B, they serve the sibling that they have been mean to. And if their chore is sweeping or laundry or what have you, they will do that kid's chore. Okay, now I've gotten some things like, well, I would just pick on my sibling and get them to act out so that they end up having to do my chore anyways. And I'm sure that has happened on some level. And then we have them like just flip-flop chores or even talk about it or do something together. So say, fold a basket, you both have to fold this basket of laundry together and work together nicely. So we do a lot of that type of discipline. And so far it seems to work. Like I usually only have to give a warning and say, you're really acting up. Do you want to do so-and-so's chore today? Like you've been really rude to this person. Do you want to do their chore? And they usually stop because they know it's not fun to do extra chores. Okay, so Chrissy A asks, how much money do you spend on groceries per month? And what are some of your money saving tips? Y'all, inflation in groceries is just getting insane. So I used to spend $1,200 a month. It is creeping to the $1,400 to $1,500 a month. And that's just all that we have. Like I can't do anything more. And it's hard. We're trimming out areas that we can, not buying, certain pre-made snacks and trying to make them ourselves. Just doing a lot of things like that. If we don't have the money like that, we just can't buy it. There was something else that, I switched my coffee instead of buying K-cups because those are expensive. And I honestly avoided the Keurig and the K-cups for a long time simply because of that. But I ended up getting one. I think it was last year. It wasn't that long ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago. It really wasn't that long ago. But I was like, this just isn't worth it. I'm using up what I have left and I'm just going back to ground coffee in a good old coffee pot because it saves a lot of money. So just certain areas, like look at the price of things and what are you buying that you can cut out? Like making tea, for instance. Nathan really likes sweet tea. We used to make it all the time at home, but then we got into the habit of buying it because it's convenient and it's easy. And so now we are making it again at the house, which is perfectly fine. So making a lot of things yourself instead of buying them does save a lot of money. And those little things add up. Not eating out. There's just a lot of ways that we are cutting back and also stretching meals. So I'm doing some meatless meals, making sure that we're using up all of our leftovers because that's a big thing that we could, not eat our leftovers and let them go bad. So just trying to do a lot of those things. And if we just have an all vegetable night, like we are all making sacrifices to make this grocery budget stretch, making bread. I've got flour, like I've got all the stuff here. So there's a lot of ways to make it stretch, but it is very overwhelming and it takes some thought and planning as well. But it's been, overall, I think it'll be healthier because we're not buying as much pre-made stuff. Okay, so Shelby asks, how do you keep your marriage with all of your kids? How do you keep up with your marriage with all the kids that you have? She feels like she's struggling with having 3. It's not hard. It's not easy, but we make it a point to connect. And there can go maybe a few days where we are just super busy taking kids here and there and whatever we have going on. And you can just tell when there's that lack. And so we'll try to, it doesn't have to be a fancy date night. We'll just put the kids to bed a little early, tell our older kids, y'all get to hang out in your rooms tonight. We are going to spend some time together. And that helps a lot. Just putting your focus, always think about each other. So if you have God first in your life and put your husband, put your wife first, everything else will fall into place. So therefore I look at, how can I help Nathan? Is there something that I can do? And vice versa. If he's thinking, how can I help Jessica? If we put each other first, I think that shows that you care about each other. And those are just little things that we do. But also getting out for a good date night helps a lot. And we need to do one soon. My mom just texted me. She's like, "Do you want to go out on," I think she asked about last night or is tonight, but we have plans with the older kids and we can't do it. So we're hoping maybe tomorrow or Monday. One night this week. Hopefully we'll get out. So Emma asks, "I'd like to know the thing you personally find the hardest about motherhood." Goodness. I would say the constant need. With having 11 children and from ages 16 to 1 now. Not hard to believe, y'all. He's 1. So at any point in time, it happens at least once a day. You know, many children will need me at the same time. And that's hard and overwhelming to where an older kid needs this, a middle kid needs this, a little kid's having a tantrum. And then I'll have a kid walk in and be like, "Camden pooped." And I'm like, okay. It's like, that can be very overwhelming. Obviously, I've been doing this for a long time now. So I've learned, okay, let's address the first thing. Like, okay, well, give me just a second. Yes, you can do that. No, you can't do that. Grab me a diaper and wipes and let's change this baby. So those moments can be overwhelming. But I've also just learned to take it in stride too. The other thing that I would say is the bickering amongst the kids. It is very hard for me. I don't have a lot of patience for that because a lot of it is they treat each other, say somebody takes a toy or takes something, but then they do it to another sibling later on. So I'm just like, I don't understand. If you don't like it, why are you treating people that way? Anyways, that part would be very frustrating. That part is very frustrating for me. Okay, so Jay Boyd asks me to please name the first thing that comes to mind with each child. We're going to be here all day, y'all. When you think about their qualities or attributes, what stands out to you the most about each one? And then for you and Nathan, the same question about each other. Well, Nathan's not here. Well, he's with the kids. I'm in here. He is here. But anyway, so the first thing that I think about with the kids. So Taylor is very kind and thoughtful. She is kind of a perfectionist, super sweet. She likes to help, and she really enjoys being with younger kids. Addison is fun. She's comes up with these jokes. She's like the life of the party type personality. She's a lot of fun. She is a good friend. She's loyal. She sees a need and she'll do it, which is super sweet. She also enjoys little children as well. All of the girls really do enjoy babies and toddlers. So Peyton is very sweet and is thoughtful, caring. She's very patient. She's quiet and more laid back. She has a bond with Kinley. She's always had a bond with the little kids. Like her and Reagan were super close, or still are. And then Harper and Drew, like they've always loved Peyton. She just has that nurturing part of her. Jackson, it's kind of like your all around typical boy, loves to be outside, loves critters, camouflage. He loves to kind of get his hands dirty. He likes to be out doing stuff. Logan is, I skipped Miley. I was thinking boys went to Logan. Miley would be next, and she loves the babies too. She is so bubbly. I call her my little jumping bean. She is just all over the place. Loves friends, loves life, loves creating, drawing, coloring, creative. All the girls are pretty creative, and even the boys. Like everybody really has a unique thing that they do. Logan is very mechanically inclined, likes to build things and makes contraptions. He is very sweet. He's also a mama's boy. Reagan is energetic and fun. She likes to be right by me and be involved in whatever I'm doing. And she also loves carrying Camden. Like right now, everybody's fighting over Camden. Like the boy can walk now. Y'all gotta stop carrying him around so much. They just all love carrying him around. Harper is, oh my goodness, that girl is so silly. And when she gets laughing, she gets going and she does not stop. It is so cute. She's a lot of fun. All the kids are so much fun. Super sweet. She is a daddy's girl for sure. Harper, Drew is a mama's boy. He comes up to me all the time. "Mommy, I love you." And it's just the sweetest thing in the world. He, I think, is going to be definitely like mechanically inclined as well. If that boy sees a pile of dirt, he's going to be in it. Kinley is a daddy's girl and a mama's girl. Like, she really likes being held and cuddles. She loves books. She's super sweet. She's starting to get very jabbery, like chatterbox, which is neat seeing that personality come out in her. Camden is 100% a mama's boy and is getting really silly as well. So we made it through all of that. So they are a lot of fun. Okay, so Chelsea Loves Beauty asks, how do you discipline? Are you firm or softer when it comes to discipline? And she also asked for a house update. So Chelsea, my family would probably say that I'm soft, but I can be firm if I want to be. I try. It doesn't come naturally to me to be super firm. I try because, you know, kids need that. But if I discipline the kids and say, I take away a device or something, I will stick with what I say. But I am on the softer side, I guess. I can admit it. I am a softie. They just genuinely, if a child misbehaves and needs discipline, they usually are very apologetic. And I can see that in them. So that's why I have a harder time being firm, because I can see that they understand what they did. So, okay, so Barbara asks, are you scheduling ballet and horse lessons this fall? So we actually took the fall off from all sports and didn't do anything. Main reason was we thought that we were going to be moving later in the year. And since we aren't, I still wanted to do ballet. I love that Reagan and Harper are old enough to do ballet now, but we had made this decision overall for everybody. So January will start the new season of ballet, and I'm doing it because I miss doing it in the fall. I really enjoy doing that with the little girls. And the boys will be doing flag football. I think the signups are in November. And as far as horse lessons, Peyton actually stopped doing horse lessons probably 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. She stopped a while ago. Miley did them for 6 months and decided that she didn't want to do it anymore. And I recently asked Peyton, do you ever want to do horse lessons? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, do you want me to sign you up? She said, not yet. So we'll see. Hopefully she'll get back into it, because it was really good for her, and Miley. None of the other kids, Reagan would probably be interested in horse lessons. I think that you need to be 7 or 8, though. It kind of depends per child, but around that age. So those are the plans for our upcoming activities. And we did not do soccer for the boys this year. They actually didn't really want to do soccer. They want to do football. They really love flag football. My voice just keeps going in and out today, y'all. Sorry. Goodness. Sorry about that. So Kimbella asks, well, she asked for a house update, and obviously I already talked about that. She prays for us often. Thank you so much. We truly 100% feel the support and prayers, and we are so thankful. Please keep them up, because we're still walking this road. Goodness, it's been a long road. Okay, so she asked if I started Christmas shopping yet. Will this year's gifts be less due to moving? How is schooling going? Can you do another week of cooking, please? I actually wanted to do another week of meals, and hopefully I'll do that soon. That's a good idea. I have not done one of those in a while. Christmas shopping, have not really started. We're kind of thinking and discussing of how we're going to do Christmas this year. It will be different than previous years. In previous years, we've done 4 gifts. There's something you want, something to wear, something you need, and something to read. My voice is going out again. I'm so sorry. I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing this year. I've already bought Kinley's gifts, like I said. We are definitely going to be changing. Just money is tighter this year versus previous years, and we are having to, pay for a lot of things outside. We're trying to move and all of that. So it will be different. We will still be doing a Christmas, but it won't be like it was in previous years. So, besides getting Kinley stuff, I really haven't started shopping. Nathan saw something at Sam's today that he thought would be good for Drew or Camden, and he texted me that and asked, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Let's just keep it in the back of our minds. It is a good idea. I like it, but let's just wait and see if anything else sticks out to us. All right. and schooling. Schooling's going okay. We're really honestly kind of distracted. I'm distracted. The kids are. So it's been hard getting into a season or getting into a good schedule. I keep trying and thinking that we're almost there, and then something happens. But that's okay too. Like, we're working through it. And this year has been a lot school-wise as far as like what the kids are doing. So it's going. I don't know that I would say it's great, but we're trying. So maybe Monday we'll kick off and be back on schedule a whole lot better. So Jamie Lee asks, have you guys talked about dating yet for the teens or older group of kids? We haven't. We have and we haven't. We aren't there yet. What we think that we will do is they can do dating in groups. So a group of friends can go off and, you know, go out to dinner or go bowling or whatever it is that they want to do. As how I think that we will address this. Things change once it's actually present. But those are our thoughts right now, is to do group dating with friends, kind of type thing. But I don't want to be super strict as far as like, you have to have a chaperone, you have to do it this way or anything like that. So those are our plans for now, is to do group. And that's kind of what Nathan and I did. Not necessarily intentionally. We just liked hanging out with our friends and being together. And I just feel like that works pretty good. Okay, so Mama D and family asked, just curious, was there any point that you thought that you didn't want to have more children and then ended up changing your mind? So yes, actually, a few times. So once we had Jackson, so Jackson is our fourth baby. Our oldest was 3. I had a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a baby. Taylor ended up turning 4 a few months later. It was hard. We also actually lived in Georgia. And while we had support, it wasn't the same as like having my mom close by. And it was hard. I wasn't sure that I wanted to have any more kids. I really wanted to move back to Florida. We ended up doing so. And then we ended up having Miley. And actually after Miley, I thought I just felt done. We had 5 kids, 5 and under. And it's a lot. It was hard. And I remember telling Nathan very vividly, I think I'm done. I think I feel complete. And he was like, wow, really? Okay, well, I said, but I haven't prayed about it yet. And I spent a good bit of time in prayer, and God completely changed my heart. Like, then we actually ended up trying to have Logan. And after Logan, we kind of were at the same place again, was praying like, God, what would you have for us? And we felt like we were supposed to have more kids, and then came Reagan, Harper, Drew, Kinley, Camden. And so, yes, I have had those feelings of wanting to be done, but then God's also changed my heart. And it's also been like at a hard point in our lives too, where we had other stuff going on. But yeah, so I have had that happen a few times. Okay, so Amy Gomez asks, do your older girls and boys hang out? When would you let your kids date and hang out with a crush? We don't really have like a time frame. Again, it hasn't approached us yet. So once it does, we will address it then. Like, kind of my thoughts is, let's first have the person come over and meet us and hang out, get to know each other, and then y'all can go off on like group dates and stuff like that. And I don't know if you mean like, do your older girls and boys hang out, like meaning my 3 older girls and Jackson hang out? They do and they don't. Taylor, Addie, and Peyton have their group of friends, and Jackson has his group of friends. But if we're like at a party or something all together, they would hang out. But Jackson doesn't really go off with the girls when they go off. So, but he's also 12. Who wants their 12-year-old brother around when you're going off and hanging out with your friends? Okay, so Melissa asks, do you know what the bedroom arrangement will be in your new home? So we did when we were going to do the manufactured home. I don't know now because I don't know what we're going to be doing. More than likely what is going to happen is Miley is going to move in with the older girls. So our 3 older girls share a room now. Miley will move in with them. Kinley will probably move in with Reagan and Harper. So older girls, Taylor, Addie, Peyton, and Miley. And then Reagan, Harper, and Kinley will share a room. Like one big girl room, one little girl room. And the boys will share a room. If we happen to have 4 rooms for kids, we will probably split up and put Drew and Camden in a room and Jackson and Logan in a room. It's kind of our thoughts right now. Okay, so the next question is, what homeschooling curriculum do you use, or do you piece it together? So I kind of piece it together. It varies so much by kid. Like, I want to be in tune with how each kid learns. Just because one curriculum works for a certain kid, it's not going to work for somebody else. But for the most part, we use my Father's World as like an overall for history and science. Taylor uses The Good and the Beautiful for high school. We use Christian Light Education for majority of the kids' language arts or literature or English curriculum. We have also used them for math for the younger kids. Love it for math. We use teaching textbooks for like 3rd, 4th grade on up for math. Love teaching textbooks too. And then Reagan and Harper are doing The Good and the Beautiful. But I'm also using Hooked on Phonics in there too. So I'm definitely piecemealing stuff together and doing what works. So far it's working pretty good this year. We also use Evan Moore's spelling. I really like that. And I've looked at a lot of spelling curriculums. I've bought a lot of spelling curriculums, and hands down, I personally like Evan Moore the best. Okay, so Ryan M asks, is Taylor going to be getting her driver's license soon? Will you let her buy a car? And do Addie and Peyton plan on posting more on their channel? So Addison and Peyton do have a YouTube channel. They have not posted in a long time. I don't know that they're planning on doing it. It's kind of something that they did when they were younger. Every once in a while, Addie will say, I should do a video. And she just hasn't. Honestly, they're super busy with school. They have a lot of schoolwork, and they've been babysitting for a family too. So they have a lot of events at church. They're pretty busy. So I don't know that there's plans for that anymore. Taylor has gotten her driver's license, and that was the end of August, I think. I think I mentioned it in a video. I know I didn't like film it, but she does have her driver's license. She is not driving off by herself yet. Not 100% ready. She will get there soon, and that's fine. As far as buying a car, if she had a job and wants to buy a car, yeah, she could buy a car anytime that she wants. I'm not against it. She has been saving money, but she doesn't have a job yet, so therefore car insurance is a big thing. So it's a process. I'm not ready, and she's not really ready to go get a job. Honestly, schoolwork is a lot, and I don't want her to feel that pressure of, oh, I have to go get a job too. So we're just taking it, as things come and whenever she's ready. And I feel like life will really change once she has a job outside of the house. And I mean, that's good for her too, but I also just want her to focus on her schoolwork. So we are waiting for now, but whenever she's ready, yeah, she can buy a car whenever she wants. Okay, so Nancy Whelan, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. How is the decluttering process going? It's going... It is so hard, y'all. I know, like, once we're in like the rhythm of, okay, packing, knowing what our house is going to be, it'll be easier. We did do a garage sale last weekend, and whatever didn't sell, somebody commented about Goodwill. I sent it to Vietnam Vets. And like we're working on it. If I happen to pick up something, I'm like, okay, I'm really kind of over this and getting rid of it. So it's slowly going, we'll say. Okay, so Lisa Garrett asks, has your family ever lived in another state than what you have lived in now? So yes, actually, Nathan and I lived in Georgia for almost 6 years in North Georgia. We loved it. We moved up there to help start a church plant. And we had our first 4 kids in Georgia. And then I really wanted to move back to be closer to my mom. And so we moved back, and we've been back ever since. I love the mountains and the states, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Georgia. It's just beautiful. I love Tennessee. And in our moving needs process, we were looking out in those states as well. A job opportunity didn't come up for Nathan. So, I mean, you got to have a job first. So we've just been here. And while it would be hard to move away from our mom, and we have a good community here too, with our church and our homeschool co-op. And stuff like that. I also like the idea of moving too, but it won't ever happen. Obviously, we bought land here, so. But yes, we did live in another state, and it was nice. But I also like having my mom close too. Okay, so the next question is, Tamitha, what's y'all's love story? So Nathan and I met, it was actually in October that we met. So Nathan went to school with my cousins. He graduated with my older cousin, and I was hanging out with her. I grew up very close to my cousins. They were more like sisters to me. And we were hanging out, and Nathan happened to call my cousin and say, hey, we're going bowling. Do you want to come and hang out? And she was like, oh, I'm hanging out with my cousin today. And I was like, oh, let's go. That sounds like fun. So we went bowling with my cousin and Nathan and a group of their friends. And Nathan started calling me and inviting me to church and Bible study. And I went, and we just kind of gelled like super fast. That was like in October, and in December, we were seeing each other regularly. And in January, we were officially like dating, and we were just together ever since. I was 16 though. And he was he 19? I guess so. He was 19. He had already graduated high school. I was a junior. But we just connected and have been together ever since. The rest is history. Okay, so I have a couple questions of how packing is going. So we did start packing some, but we haven't really done anything else because, again, we just don't know. And I don't really want to live with piles of boxes and corners and stuff like that, or have them in the garage. We live in Florida. There's a lot of humidity here, so the stuff being packed away just wouldn't, for a long period of time, wouldn't be good for it in the garage either. So we are just trying to be patient right now. So that was actually from Crystal Johnson. Hi, Crystal. And she also asked how school was going. I already answered that. So it's going, y'all. It's kind of been a different year, but we are working on it. Okay, so Emily Paula asks, how do you juggle meeting the developmental needs of all of your kids, and any advice on keeping relationships strong with teens and tweens? So juggling meeting the developmental needs of all the kids. I think just as a mom, when you just see that your kids need something, you just handle it and you do it. So just being aware of where the kids are and what they need would be the first thing. And then just trying to pinpoint a solution or help or prayer, and just being there for them and helping them work through things. That's constant. Like, there's something every single day. And whatever arises that our kids need, like, we are going to do our best to work through it, get whatever help that they need outside of, what we can help them with. I just think that just comes naturally as a mom, is we want the best for our kids. So I don't really know how you juggle it besides doing it. Does that make sense? Okay, so any advice on keeping the relationship strong with teens and tweens? I think, again, I mentioned this earlier, it starts young, like just being there for them, listening to them, knowing their heart and their desires and the things that they like, so this is something, like our 3 older girls, as much as they are alike, they are very different. And this was from when they were very little. They all liked a different American Girl, for example. So I would sit down with Taylor and read her the American Girl doll books that she liked, and then the same with Addie and the same with Peyton. Like, meeting them in their interests and sharing that with them helps a lot. And that has happened as they have grown. They have like different TV shows that they want to watch with me. So I just take turns. All right, it's Taylor's turn. We watch Taylor's, and then we watch Addie's, and then we watch Peyton's, and so on throughout the rest of the kids. Just meeting them with their interests and taking, thought in that, and just being aware of the things that they like, and also letting them know that they can come and talk to you about anything. And I constantly tell them that, like, I want to be here for you. I want to help you. If anything happens and you want to talk about it, I think not freaking out and being super judgmental or anything like that, just listening to them and being there for them. That's what has helped in our family. Okay, so Kendry asked, if the kids ever wanted to go to public school, would you let them? And what is your dream family vacation? So as far as schooling goes, if they wanted to, I mean, we would talk about it and pray about it and do what we felt like was best. So far, most of them, every once in a while, a child has said something, but it's not been like a huge thing that they talk about. They enjoy being home and they enjoy being homeschooled. They like our co-op. I think that helps a lot too, that we're not just staying home every single day. That's, but for the most part, most kids have, like my older kids would flat out tell you, I don't want to go to public school. I want to be homeschooled. So it has just worked for us. So, but we're not against like if they wanted to go to school or if it was better for a child to go to school. But so far, staying home has been what has been best. So a dream family vacation. I would love to do like a United States road trip. I think that would be so much fun. Or go over to Europe. Like if I could take my whole family to Europe, that would just be a dream come true. That would be awesome. Okay, so Tracy Day asks, she wants to know what each of our family members' love languages. It is interesting, like once you pay attention to love languages, how you can show love to that person. So there's a book, in case y'all don't know, I know the author and it just completely left me, but it's called The 5 Love Languages. They are physical touch, acts of service, quality time. Now I'm not going to be able to remember them. Gifts, acts of service, physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation. As far as like the kids go, Taylor's would probably be quality time. Addie's could be acts of service, gifts, or quality time, like along those 3 lines. Peyton would be quality time. Jackson is probably words of affirmation, quality time. Miley would be acts of service for sure. Logan is probably physical touch. Reagan, it's so hard in like younger kids. I feel like acts of service, physical touch. Harper is probably physical touch as well. Drew is probably touch. I don't know, it's really interesting to like stop and look and think, because how typically a person shows love is how they feel it. It's interesting. I really like diving into the love languages. I have not read the book for kids. I did for the adults. Nathan and I did that as like a Bible study early in our marriage. And it really does help, like if you look into it. So if nobody has ever looked into the love languages, I highly recommend it. Bridget D asks, did you work when your older children were small? So once we had kids, I was a stay-at-home mom. We knew that that's what we wanted for our family. Like that was our plans from when we got married. We knew that once we had kids that we wanted me to stay home. I did work before then. Whenever I was pregnant with Taylor, I was a substitute teacher. That was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy that. So it was kind of an easy transition once having kids. But while I haven't had a set job outside of the home, I've done various things to help our family financially. I've done making things and selling them, although that wasn't my intention. I was making things just for my kids, and a store approached me and was like, hey, we really like that. Did you make it? Can we sell it in our store? So I started making a lot. Those were hair bows. Back when the hair bows first became popular, you couldn't just find them in the stores. Like you had to find them handmade. And I was making them for my girls because I just wanted them. And a store was like, hey, can you make a bunch and we'll sell them in our stores? And I was like, sure, that sounds like fun. I've made crocheted hats and have sold those. I've redone furniture and have sold that. So I've done various things over the years that have helped us. And now I do YouTube and I make a little bit of money through YouTube, and we are super thankful for that. So last question, and it's the golden question. It's from Terry Wilson. Do you have any plans in the future for another baby? So I don't know. I know that we would be overjoyed if we had another baby. Sometimes I'm kind of like, oh, I would love to have another baby, but we are also finding ourselves content with where we are. So we'll just have to wait and see what the future has in store. I don't know. If God were to bless us with another baby, that would be amazing. But if this is also what God has in store for us, we are perfectly okay with that too. So that's it for this Q&A. Thank you guys so much for your love and support, especially for your prayers during this moving season that we have going on. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, asking these questions, and we'll see y'all in the next video.